we back for another one, baby. You already know what it is. Welcome back to More Than the Title, episode 223. As usual, actually a special episode. This is Cuzzo B-Day episode. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Cuzzo B-Day episode.
What we got going on, man? We got to get the...
Come on, baby. Come on. It's your B-Day episode. Let's make it happen. You know what I'm
saying, man? You know what I mean? We were celebrating all weekend, man. It was...
Tell me where to go. He was everywhere.
Tell me where to go.
There was a lot of movement, a lot of action, man. But you already know, man. Thanks everybody for tuning in. It's More Than the Title. I'm your host as usual, Jarrett, Chief Revenue Officer at Outside the Box Digital. And of course, I got my brother, my brethren, your favorite CEO, Cuzzo, the B-Day boy. What's good?
And we in the building, man. You know what I'm saying? Listen. I'm recovering, you heard? I'm recovering. Voice a little hoarse, but in a good way, man. Just, glad to see another lap around the sun. So you know what it is. You see the guys on the show, ladies and gentlemen. So you know what it is. In the Hollywood Square above us, we had to bring in our girl, Nadege, a.k.a. The Balance. It's a celebration.
Oh, yeah, happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you, bro.
What up, Nadege? What's going on?
It's good. It's a great day. It's the first pod day of the week,
Okay.
Tuesday. I'm ready to get started. We got a phenomenal guest. So I want you to let us know, bro, what's about to get started.
I mean, listen, G&T, grateful and thankful. I'm going to set the G&T to me. You understand what I'm saying? To myself, man. I'm grateful to be here another year. Real talk. Like, I'm not being funny, but just in the last couple of weeks, we say it on the show a lot. I've lost a lot of people that we were close to growing up, and they all were not in their elder years. A lot of them was in their 30s into 40s. So that's way too young to be losing life, especially to a situation that's not violent, right? We're just talking people losing their lives just based off of health situations, right? I'm trying to get the glare out the glasses. They're, you losing their life based on health situations. So I'm happy to be here, man. Glad to see another year around the sun. You know what I'm saying? Leo Nation, you know what it is. All my Leos out there, big Leo energy, the best zodiac sign. And you know what I'm saying? So that's it. G&T to me, man. I made it here. I'm thankful for my More Than the Title family, Nadege, Cuzzo, also Cuzzo, part of the regular family that came out and celebrated with me all weekend. We had a great time, man. Good food, good drinks. That's all you really need, man, is to be surrounded by love, man. So G&T, man, we made it, man. Another lap around the sun, you heard?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I love that, man. It was a vibe, man. So definitely, man. Yeah, just shout out to you, bros, because I'm glad you enjoyed, my dude. You know what I mean? Told you in person, told you in private, tell you on the show. You know what I'm saying? I love you, man. I love you for free. Proud of the man you are. I'm proud of everything you represent, man. We don't want to do this journey with no one else, you know what I mean? But y'all three. So, y'all two, you know what I mean? So, you go on the journey with us too, Dr. Babs. You know, I love you. But you already know, before we begin to introduce this brother, shout out to our distribution partners, the Live Podcast Network. We actually have a new link for y'all because we heard the link crack. So, Live Podcast Network, the best. Well, first, biggest woman-owned, black-owned podcast network. You want more content like More Than the Title, make sure y'all go there. Go on your app store, download the content, get it, and make sure you support us. Shout out to Angel and the team.
That was crazy.
What was that?
You heard that too, right?
Yeah, they trying to take us down. Pause.
They trying to take us down? They trying to
take us down. We're trying to infiltrate the show, man.
Oh, no.
Listen, don't get the G&T confused. I said I made it here. I ain't said I changed too much, motherfuckers. You still will get message. Real quick. Don't play around with it.
Yeah.
Let's start the show.
Now we gotta get his brother the intro, man. So for the first time listeners, welcome to More Than the Title. It's a podcast where we go beyond business cards, dive into real stories, strategies, and really just the mindset of the most inspiring leaders of today, y'all. And today's no different. We got someone who truly lives at the intersection of strategy, innovation, and global impact. He's a powerhouse business leader, strategist, marketing expert who's helped some of the world's biggest brands, including Samsung, Coca-Cola, Nestle, Toyota, the World Bank, and more, unlocking new levels of performance through his creativity, data, and technology. He's also the Senior Vice President of Strategy at Publicis Media, one of the biggest agencies in the world, Stacom in the U.S., and he's also a professor of marketing and an author of Cracking the Life Code. And when he's not solving problems, he's traveling the world, hitting the gym and cheering on his favorite soccer team, and he's also judging in big events like the Cannes International Festival of Creativity. You've seen him in the boardrooms.
Boom.
You've seen him in the podcast. You definitely seen my bro in the gym. My boy in there working. You know what I'm saying?
That's the fact.
He's on your favorite podcast for the very first time. Let's introduce our brother, Dr. Babs Faseesin, y'all.
I'm telling y'all right now, before we get started, we taking Babs who could do the most push-ups, me or Dr. Babs. So all our Instagram people put the comments in right now. We're gonna get the remember we was doing the 50-50 challenge, so we're gonna do the push-up challenge. It might go live and we're gonna see who stopped first for the culture.
Listen, I'm gonna take you up on that one. That's sure. Right. Let's do it, man.
If anybody talking shit, me and Dr. Babs both over 40, so we don't want to hear shit.
That's right. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go. Absolutely. Health is wealth for sure. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Totally. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for having me. It's really an honor to be here. This same show has hosted some really powerful names in our industry and across entertainment. So I feel very honored and grateful to be here. Thank you so much for the great work you're doing. You're doing fantastic. You're doing amazing work. The energy alone is infectious. The first time I encountered you, I was like, what the hell? Who are these people? Who are these people?
We rocked out. Yeah.
I enjoy every interaction and every encounter with you. So I'm so honored and I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you guys know something. You know, most of the time we do this show, the guests that come on the show, we actually meet them for the first time on the show live. So when you guys meet them, we meet them. This is not the case. We actually did a panel a couple of months beforehand and got a chance to have Dr. Babs on our panel. And I just want to say, again, like the same, you know, acclimate, the accomplishments and the love that you just gave us. I just want to boomerang that back, because having you on that panel, all of us looked at each other, and I think everybody that was in the audience, just the way you carry yourself, the way you speak so eloquently, just your words, is such a powerful panel. I just, you know, we were impressed. Moment one, we like, oh, he got to come on the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, like, we had him on a panel. We did a panel together, and we were so impressed that we gave him the invite, and he graciously accepted to come on the show. So this is our second time actually linking up with him. We were supposed to meet with him in Cannes, but he was busy, you know, ripping and running, because the guy's in high demand. So, you know, we appreciate you giving us a second shot at you know, this interview thing.
No, thank you so much.
Yeah,
it's really an honor. I appreciate it. That's very kind of you to say as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Real, man. But you know how we like to start, Doc. So let's talk about it. Usually we start from the beginning. We want to give people the full story and the scope of, you know, who you are, how you got to where you are, brother. So talk us about the beginning, man. Tell us some early influences and talk to us about growing up, bro.
Oh, that's a long way from home. I was born in Nigeria, and oftentimes not a lot of people, when people think about Nigeria, they never really think about northern Nigeria. So I was born and raised partially or partly early childhood in northern Nigeria, born to a professor father and a librarian mother. And kids in school would make jokes at us, myself and my brothers, and go, when a professor marries a librarian, what are they going to produce? And all the kids will go, encyclopedia. Shit. So for a very long time, I had the nickname Encyclopedia, which it's fine now. At the time, as a kid, I didn't like that at all. But yes, born in Nigeria, raised partially in Nigeria, to parents who have just, you know, middle class family. They just wanted the best for their three boys, and they invested everything, if you will, everything into these three boys. So my mother specifically went above and beyond to ensure that she did believe, and to this day, I don't think anyone would convince me otherwise. She did believe that the one way to, if you're born in a culture or a community or a nation where so many people are chasing so few resources, you had to be the best of the best of the best in order to attain the resources. Method. Take a very good example. You want to go to elementary school. you want to go to the best elementary school. In order to get into the best elementary school, you had to be the best of the best. So here's the pressure. So I come home and my parents say to me, so what was your score in maths today? And I go, well, I had a 99%. And my dad goes, what happened to 100%? He goes, what happens to 100%? You know, and I remember creating content about this one lady in class, young girl in my class, math class, who I tried everything possible to beat this girl at least once ever. In maths, never. You know, the closest I got to it was I had a 96.4% and she had a 96.8%. So 0.2% was the gap. And my dad still went, what happened to the 0.2%? So, and I mean, if you bring that to the culture that we live in today, that would be considered abusive. There might be people who are watching and listening and saying, oh, that's a little tough, that's a little too much. But in that moment, our parents did the best they could, and what they understood to be the best was pushing you beyond the ordinary. So I was 12 when my mother decided to go to grad school, and so she wanted to go to grad school full time. So she called me into the bedroom and said, hey, I'm going to school, and I'm going to go to school full time. I'm going to be on campus. You know what that means? You are now going to be the mother of the family. So from this point on, over the next 3 months, you're going to follow me to shopping, grocery shopping. I'm going to show you all the people where I buy everything. So you're going to learn cooking. You're going to learn everything. And so when I'm gone, you're going to make sure your brothers get fed. You're going to make sure your brothers get ready for school. Your dad's going to drop you off in school. Your dad's going to pick you up in school. So while my mom was away in grad school, I became a mother, pseudo mother in my family pretty quickly. So at 12, I was playing that role in the game. Damn! If you bring that to the world we live in today, that might also be interpreted as being, or that could be seen as being, you know, ripping or denying a child their childhood, which I can absolutely understand that. But
wait, don't go no further than that though, because you're unpacking a lot. So yeah. I don't want you to get too far down the rabbit hole, because you said a lot of important things that we have to address. We have to address this. Number one, there's a saying that I like to say all the time, and this is how I teach my kids, right? If I say, like, what did you get on the test? And they be like, oh, 75, right? And they go, oh, you know, I got a 75. Well, let's say they fail. They be like, oh, you know, I got a 64. I failed by 1 point. And I'm like, you failed by more than 1 point, because the score is 100. The score is 100. So you didn't fail by 1 point. You failed by 35 points or 36 points. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's how many points you missed to pass. I want to say this. I think that our culture is so, let's just say, programmed to understanding we have gone through a lot of struggle and pain and strife and not wanting to push it forward, that sometimes it actually stops us from having that tough love to make sure that we are actually ready for what the world is giving to us in this moment, right? Because at the end of the day, right. you say at 12 years old, that could be interpreted as abuse because your father's being hard on you, right? I say, well, in my neighborhood, going to school you was a clown, you was a nerd. You got beat up for going to school. You got beat up for getting good grades. Going to high school and stuff. You understand? You see the difference, right? And then when you get to school, and this is almost in every grade of what I was seeing, and this is not a shot other than me. Most of the schools that I've seen, the kids that graduated the best of the best of the best were foreign kids. They were foreign kids. They were foreign kids that came here. Always. That their parents did that. Stop playing around. Let's get to it. Now, coming from a society that doesn't have a lot of urban city kids, where your economics, your resources are almost nothing, to get into the best schools, you got to have the best grades. To get into the best colleges or whatever, you got to have money or you got to have a scholarship. But how are you getting that with terrible grades? So I just wanted to touch on that really quick before you got too far away from that, because I'm just showing you, right? So many situations could look like one thing on the left and then something completely different on the right, but the actuality is it's the same thing. It's just, are you gonna look at the situation and say, what are we really doing? Should they get a good education? Should we be forceful in making sure that they can prepare themselves for the best opportunities in life? Or are we going to be lackadaisical because we just don't want to be so aggressive? And then when our kids don't perform well against other countries and other students, then we make excuses and say it's not us.
Message. That's a very very deep thought that you just unpacked, and thanks for jumping in and unpacking that. Very recently, someone asked me, hey, how do you have the capacity, the time, and the energy to do all the things that you do? Like, you are, a professional, you are a professor, you're writing 4 books, you are a public speaker, and how do you have the capacity, and do you even sleep at all?
Right.
And I responded and said, I actually don't play with my sleep. I sleep at least 8 hours. If you try to call my phone at 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m. on a weekday, you're not getting me. And I wake up at 4:30 a.m. every day to go to the gym. Now, but my response to that question was more about capacity. And I try to explain that this is the same way I have operated since I was 12. It has not changed. It's the same way. I've operated at the same capacity because at 12, I was playing soccer. At 12, I was leading the debate team in school. At 12, I was playing music. At 12, I was in choir. And I was doing all of those things. So to this day, I am able to build capacity over time to be able to take on multiple different things. And I'm very interested, very, very passionate about living a full life. I do not want to be defined by the job that I do. And that's why I really love this podcast. I love the name of this podcast more than the title. When I first heard it, I was like, oh yeah, no, that's fantastic. That's an awesome title for a podcast, because oftentimes if you ask people, I had the opportunity to speak at a conference one time, I think 2018, and I told the people, just go around, just give me two minutes of your time, go around, ask people you never met before, just ask them, introduce yourself. And guess what? Most of the people came back saying they introduced themselves as Dr. This, engineer that. And so they oftentimes people are not able to see or define or introduce themselves beyond what they do in their career. And I said to myself, I would never be defined by the strategy decks that I created. I want to live a full, a robust, and a rich life such that I am touching every aspect of my life. And that's why I wrote this book, Cracking the Life Code, to help people understand and on my perspective about living a full and enriching life. So
that was a damn good intro, ad and placement. And
I'm telling you, like,
this motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking.
No, he's good.
He's good. I told you he's good.
Where did y'all get all of these?
From every movie, every cultural thing you could think of.
Oh, it's so funny.
We laugh. See, oftentimes we view life from a children's perspective through adulthood that you don't understand because you've never experienced what adulthood truly is. So as children, me and Cuzzo, we grew up in an era where we actually played outside. Like, we grew up in an era where the biggest thing you had was a house phone. So if somebody wanted to reach you, they had to call the house. If you wasn't in the house, they're not getting you. But everybody was outside.
Facts.
We learned social interaction. We learned emotional this and that. We learned all of these things by interacting, right? But what we also learned was that toughness. What we also learned was looking at other people and how they live, what we wanted to be and what we did not want to be, right? And we learned this early. Now, again, people might say, oh, you didn't have a childhood, but childhood, let's just say 100, Dr. Babs. Let's say 100. If we can live to be 100, technically in the United States, to the age of 18, you are your parents' responsibility. After that, technically, they say you can make your own decisions. So what you're saying is this. a baby's born from 0 to, let's say, 5. You really don't even understand self-awareness. So let's just say till 5. So from 5, first grade, to roughly 17, 18, the completion of high school, we have that amount of time to be trained at 18, technically. So we're talking 100 for the next 82 years of our life, 18 years to prepare you for the next 82 years of your life. And you want us to play how much now? You understand, when you start putting it into different perspectives, then you start understanding, like, what are we actually talking about? Are we preparing our children properly, or are we not?
That's a very great point, actually, and it leads me to a point in my book. So my book, Cracking the Life Code, really starts out talking about how when a child is born to this world, there is no manual. You don't leave the hospital with a manual for how to go raise that child. So, life doesn't come with a manual. So oftentimes when a child gets here, the immediate family members are the sources of what I called code. So the interaction with the immediate members, and then it extends to maybe professors or education teachers, and then it extends to society at large. And this is how the child starts to connect or collect codes by which they ultimately would live their lives further down the line. And oftentimes in my interaction, especially during coaching calls, I found that most often, because there is no manual that really, and that's why I struggle oftentimes with the idea of, judging our parents, because frankly, I just give grace to our parents, knowing that sometimes they probably just did what they knew was best. Sometimes they did, but at the end of the day, I truly believe probably because they wanted the best for us. So a good example, my parents wanted me to be a doctor. That's very Nigerian. That's that's very Nigerian. And if you're a smart kid in school, the assumption is you're just going to be a doctor. There's no thinking about it. And I kept wondering why, as I got older, why did they want me to be a doctor so bad? Why was my dad so disappointed? It was the first time ever when I told my parents I would not be going to med school. I saw the disappointment in my parents' eyes, and I had never said no to my parents until that point. Wow. And I saw the disappointment. I felt so terrible watching my parents so disappointed in me. And then I kept trying to understand why they were so, but then I realized over time that it was really about security. They just wanted me to be secure. It had nothing to do with them. They had already built their own lives. They were already comfortable in their own lives, but they just wanted to make sure that in the future, I'll be able to take care of myself. I'll be okay. And I figured that, if that's what you're really worried about, I got this. Let me take every lesson you've taught me since I was 10 and then 12 and then 14. It's not about what I end up doing. It's about the foundation you gave me when I started. And so that
I was gonna let him finish, cuz, but finger was on the trigger. But I was gonna let him finish.
That foundation is all I need to unlock greatness anywhere I find myself. So I believe that if I end up in the classroom, I would unlock greatness in classrooms. If I end up as a marketing expert, I would unlock greatness in marketing expert. It's not the profession that ultimately defines me. It's really the setup, the codes that I'm wired with from my birth, from my childhood, and through experiences as I grew through the ranks that really positions me to unlock greatness regardless of what I do, right? So, yeah.
You gotta listen to him. You can learn something.
You're going crazy. I like it.
Wow.
Sis,
I'm just like, wow, that was such a great answer. But let's get into, you getting into the career and now, because you said you weren't going to be a doctor. What was that transition like? What brought you to making that decision to, taking the road less traveled.
Yes,
Wow.
that's actually a great one. So here was I, and I'll continue the story if that's fine. So here was I had disappointed my parents, and my dad specifically had asked to cut me off for making a decision against the family's choice. And now I was left, this was right after college, I was left to make a decision for how I would live the rest of my life. And so I decided, well, by the way, I studied biochemistry. So I'm coming from a science background. I studied biochemistry. I should be in a lab somewhere, finding vaccines for all kinds of viruses, But then I decided I wanted to do something that impacts the business world. I had a friend, to be honest, this was just a very childish decision. I had a friend in my room in college who studied economics. I picked up his textbook one day and I read his textbook and I saw billions of dollars, hundreds of thousands. I was like, wait, this is something? Trillions, what is this? And then I started to learn about GDP. I was like, nations, create wealth. And I started to think, well, listen, coming from where I'm coming from, I want to talk about money. I want to do money. I want to do business. I want to think about wealth creation. That's where I want to go.
Fine. Yep.
And that's how I decided, well, I'm going to go to the space of business. And so I got into strategy, started out first at management consulting, worked in management consulting, doing business model design, business model reengineering. It was the perfect thing I needed at the time because I needed to tap into my analytical mind to help solve business problems. I was like a kid in a candy store when I got a job in management consulting. I was just so happy. I worked that job for a while, and then I moved on to another another brand strategy consulting firm. And I was working this job when a client told me one day, said, hey, you would be great for advertising. The strategist skill, advertising can use your strategist skill. I was like, I never thought about advertising. And he was like, if you're interested in advertising, I know the CEO of Leo. I can put a call through to Leo. I think they could use your skill. And that's how I got into advertising. I had an interview and I got the job and I started my new journey, learning again afresh, about strategy, but from the creative side. The beautiful thing about that is I think that growing up, I'm a creative person, but my parents truly wanted me to be a science person. And so I excelled in both of those because, well, I loved my passion for creativity, but then I knew I had to nail sciences in order to get playtime so I could use my playtime to do my creativity, And so I had to juggle both worlds all the way. And that's the very similar case to my youngest brother, who also was, he was such an awesome writer, but my parents wanted him to be an engineer. And so he was in engineering. So he was doing engineering and writing at the same time, just because he didn't want to let go of his passion while still doing something else and today we're all happy. We're all doing great. Thank goodness for that. But what that did for me particularly is it expanded my capacity. So rather than narrowing down, I was able to expand through pain, through sleepless nights. I'll give a very good story and I'll shut up.
Hold on. If it's story time, if it's story time, let's go.
Let's go.
My chocolate milk ready.
So I wanted to take a certification exam to get me acquainted with business world because I studied clinical biochemistry. I then decided to take a flight to South Africa. This certification was in South Africa. So I had money only enough to take me to South Africa. I'd never been to South Africa. I knew nobody in South Africa. The only thing I knew about South Africa was that they had Wits Business School. And Wits Business School is a very prestigious business school. I knew that if I got on the campus of Wits Business School, I can go into those classes, take lessons, even though I'm not a student. I'm not enrolled in class. So look at this crazy idea for a 21-year-old. I got on the plane with my bag in my hand, flew over to South Africa, went into this campus and put my stuff in the cafeteria. It's an open place. Nobody knew I was not a student. So I put my stuff in the cafeteria and slept on the bench in the cafeteria. And the next morning, I woke up before anyone woke up. I did wash up in the bathroom and I went into the class like any other student. Took business classes. That's how I learned about business. I sat in those classes, but I didn't take exams because I was not, registered to take exams. I would play ping pong, table tennis, which is what we call it. I played table tennis and beat all the students. And then I would rake up some money from beating them to buy lunch and dinner. And so I made friends with the students and I told them, listen, when you go to the library, can you borrow some business books for me? I'd like to read them overnight and I'll give them back to you the next day. And they'll borrow books for me and bring it back to me in the cafeteria, which is my home. And I'll read these books at night, and the morning time, I'll give it back to them and they'll go take it back to the library. I did that for 3 months and a half. And then I went and took the certification program. I took the certification program and I had 94%.
Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! He's a savage.
Savage.
Woo!
Savage.
Wow.
So goal achieved. I was happy. And that was primarily how I got my first break into the world of business, coming from biochemistry. And so, yeah, then the journey from there, ups and downs. When you cross into creative, they go, who the hell are you? Where are you coming from? And now you have to start from scratch, trying to build credibility, trying to build, respect amongst both your peers and your superiors, right? And then you go through all of those challenges. One day I said to myself, at this point, I had grown in my career. I had a very fast, as soon after that professional certification, my career just shot. Went very quickly. And then one day I was up, I believe the 23rd floor in the office. And I looked around and I said to myself, I feel like a big fish in a small pond. It's about time for me to go find the biggest pond in the world. And so part of this was driven by my insatiable quest for greatness. I just don't feel like settling is an option. Being average is an option. Just being okay with what I have, not contentment. I was taught contentment, but being okay where I'm at is not part of the game, not at all. So I constantly challenge myself to push beyond the limits. And so that day I said to myself, I feel like I had the life anyone wanted. I had a great job. I had a great career. Everyone would want to be, where I was at the time. But then I said to myself, this is like a big fish in a very small pond. Where is the biggest pond in the world? Now I'm going to go there. And if I survive, then I would know that I'm truly a fish. I don't care. Or a small one. I just need to survive.
Yeah.
And that led me to New York City.
Well,
that decision led me to New York City.
Quick question, then, Doc. How do you define greatness personally? How do you define that?
Yeah.
So I've written, I think, parts of it in my book and parts of it through some of the contents that I've created in the past. For greatness for me, it's about meaning, it's about purpose, and it's about fulfillment. So the ability to find meaning in life, that's like the foundation. Finding meaning, unlocking my purpose, identifying my purpose. And frankly, I've said also that it's not enough to identify your purpose. You've got to take it further. You've got to fulfill the purpose. So of what use is knowing your purpose if you're not going to fulfill it, right? So it's about success for me. It's about meaning. It's about purpose. And it's about it's about meaning, it's about purpose, and it's about fulfillment. It's about fulfillment. Am I fulfilled in what I'm doing? Is it bringing me the peace that I dreamed of? Is it bringing me the fulfillment that I desire? Do I feel like this is bringing me closer to my purpose? Am I finding meaning in what I'm doing? So oftentimes people might define greatness in the terms of financial, abilities. Well, that's great. But my parents told me that money can grow wings and fly away. So one day you could be up, next day you could be down. You might describe greatness by titles, but then I have seen some people be the highest title in the room today. Tomorrow, the title is gone. So that's why I love this title more than a title, a podcast name. So at the end of the day, success is internal, and every individual would have to define success for themselves. And when we understand what our definition of success is internally, it would change a lot for us. For me, it just means that I don't have any competition. So I'm in a game of one. It's me against me. So understanding my purpose enabled me realize that I'm not in a competition. There's room enough for all of us. When we're in the bottom, that's when we feel like, oh, it's crowded. It's crowded in the bottom. But once you start to elevate, there's so much room up here, so much room. So all you need to do is elevate the mindset beyond the ground. If you're on the ground, yes, it's crowded. So many people are competing for the same audiences, the same voices, so many podcasts reaching the same audiences. But the moment you say to yourself, hey, let me elevate my view a little bit. Let me elevate my perspective a little bit. The moment you start going that elevation, it becomes completely clear. It becomes completely open. There's so much room. I'll be happy to have you. You'll be happy to have me, because there's so much room to grow. Because why? You've understood your purpose and you're playing in your lane. So when you understand your purpose and you're playing in your lane, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. It's your own time. It's a game of you against you.
Message. There you go. Cool. I'm loving this interview because Dr. Babs, I see so much of myself within your story, because I've operated like that for a very long time. Anybody that's known me has known that I've always gotten to it since a very, very, very young age. And a lot of the times people be like, oh, you don't sleep, you don't do this, you don't do that. But I turn around and I go, but I live like this. You know what I mean? I've been living like this for a very long time. And when you play around a lot and you live like that, again, success is each person has their own version, but it's just about like, there is time for playtime, but I think often people don't know when to stop playing. They never get serious, and playtime becomes the priority other than building your foundation and then saying, okay, I'll play later. But I wanted to touch on this because you said the biggest pond in the world, but you also brought up people don't often talk about northern Nigeria. So now, us being from America, I don't know too much about Nigeria, but you brought that up for a reason. So I would really like for you to expound on what is the differences in the lifestyle of the northern Nigerians versus, let's say the southern Nigeria, or like, what's the cultural differences within that that makes you say like there's a big difference between, where you're born in Nigeria?
Yeah, chances are the Nigerians you've met are from the southern part.
Okay.
Chances are.
Okay.
And if not, if I'm wrong, maybe I would say 80-90% of the Nigerians you've met are from the southern part. Okay. The northern part of Nigeria is very, very different. It's probably not it's not as civilized as the southern part of Nigeria. Now, education started in the western part of Nigeria, and for the sake of this discussion, I'll just make it north and south. So, okay. So education and civilization, started out in the southern part of Nigeria. So the northern part of Nigeria, not quite much. So think about it as a little more remote than the more civilized part of Nigeria. It was also largely an Islamic community. It is. It is, not was. It is largely an Islamic community. And I was born at a time when there was a lot of distress in that part of the country. There was a lot of, killings, riots. It was a very, very challenging time. I was born in that part of the world. So coming from parents who are two things now. Coming from parents who are from the South, they are from the South, but they just happen to have met in the North. So they're minority on that level, ethnicity. So just from tribal minority. And then the fact that they were Christians and they're living in Northern Islamic culture, they were also minority on that part. So oftentimes when people tell me this journey of minority, it has been my entire life. That's my story, my entire life. I was born into, and it didn't matter where I lived. So I was either a minority because of religion, or I was a minority because of my tribe, or I maybe in the global world, a minority because of the color of my skin. So it's something that I'm used to. It's not new to me. My entire life, across different dimensions of my life, I've lived in that, minority angle. So that's why I brought that up. That, well, when we think of Nigeria, I mean, Nigeria is one of the greatest nations in the world. It's my motherland, and it has produced some of the best talents around the world today. So, but a lot of that comes from the southern part. So when you have two people who are committed to education and they said, well, I want to invest in education I want to bring education to Northern Nigeria. My mom, for instance, was very passionate about, library science and bringing library to these communities that are not as educated and enlightened. And so it was more a thing of purpose and passion for them than anything else.
First of all, what you've encountered, endured, right? Like, it's hard to go through. You go through what a lot of people can't even fathom. First of all, you said you read your college text, your roommate's textbook. 99% of people ain't doing that. Going to the south of Africa where you have no friends there and going to a cafeteria, what's the odds of them not having security, allowing you to be in there, having somebody not complain about you? You know what I mean? Things had to go right for that. And then for you to still handle it that way, still have the grace to handle it, not have people dislike you and all, not having a chip on your shoulder. Like, it says a lot about who you are, bro. And really, I was going to actually, since you could back me up, but I would have want to know back to the pond. So you're at the agency. You're at the pond. You're like, I'm excelling. I'm making good money. I could really just kind of coast here. How did you identify the big pond, and what challenges was it getting into that pond? Like, especially where you're from.
A lot of challenges, many of which I think probably too soon to even talk about. Frankly,
Method.
Sometimes certain stories are better at certain points. They're better told at certain points in life, and that way they might be a lot more impactful. But I left everything I knew. I left the comfort of my family and my friends, and everything I had ever known, and I packed up my stuff and I came to the United States to go to grad school. Came to New York, got into grad school, started studying. I went from living, this very fantastic life to, coming back down to be, a student and trying to reestablish myself in a new culture, in a new community, in a new country, with no friends, nothing. But that's it. The thing is, the day I made that decision, I burnt that boat. I burnt that boat and said to myself, if I don't swim, then I'll sink. So, but there's no going back home. There is no returning home. That boat, I crushed it. The boat that brought me, and this is a figurative boat, but you understand my point. I decided the moment I made it out to the United States to go to school, and I decided in that moment that I would swim or I would sink. but the focus was for me to truly swim. So it started again. This is why I can't knock my parents, right? They challenged me a lot, and that's the same thing that has powered me up until today. So I did my master's, and through the course of my master's, I did a research. And by the way, I'm going to take you back to my college, my undergraduate research in college. But let me hit the master's one. I had always had passion. That economics book I read in college, I still had it in my head. And so when I came out here, I had Silicon Valley on my mind. I was very intentional, very purposeful. I had a plan, right? So when I came out here, I had an 8-year agenda, an 8-year plan, 8-year plan with 8 items on the plan. Every single one of them I have checked except one today. So it was very intentional, very deliberate. So I did this master's and I did my research. You might how you do your thesis, but I delved deep into understanding Silicon Valley and reading a lot of materials, trying to understand. And I realized that the model in Silicon Valley is actually, I think it's probably starting to maybe outlive its relevance. And I gave examples through my thesis of how, when you think about some of the ventures that have come out of Silicon Valley in the last decade, many of them have failed in one way, shape, or form. When you think of Uber, when you think about WeWork, when you think about, and so I started to shed light on how and this is my personal opinion, how I believe that there's a lot of makeup on ventures. We put makeup on them and we put them in IPO and people purchase them and then they just go, And so I started to think of an alternative to Silicon Valley's model at the time. I think the point for me is just always looking for difficult questions to answer, always looking for difficult problems. Usually people just write their thesis and get the hell out of school. Like, just submit the damn thesis and walk away. Why do you want to just do something why does it have to be so difficult? Why do you have to read all night and review several materials and come up with, something groundbreaking that, anyways, it's the same mindset when I was in undergrad, right? So I was undergrad, I was doing my research in undergrad, and my mom was like, what? Nobody cares about undergrad research. Why are you talking about research in undergrad? Who cares about undergrad? I said, well, I'm very passionate about this. You know what it was? I was exploring potassium bromate. Potassium bromate is a carcinogen. It causes cancer. So I was not very familiar with cancer at the time, but I wanted to research it. And my mom was just laughing like, you're undergrad. Who cares about your research? If you're doing a PhD, then we would understand you're doing a research. I was like, no, I'm going to just dive in. Guess what? I did it. I did the research. I graduated undergrad, and that research turned out to be the first and only undergraduate research to ever get published in a journal.
Wow.
Oh.
So we just have to rewind a little bit because
I told you.
Like, for the way you think and process, like,
right.
The question is like, what? And I feel like everyone in life, the reason they haven't got to the next level is some sort of limiting belief. But if you can go back, like whatever mom taught you, dad taught you, what was that limiting belief you had? And how did you overcome it? How did you reframe it to just be a firing on all cylinders this way?
Yeah, so it was an event that happened in my life when I was 10. I walked into the bedroom and I saw my mom crying. And if anyone knows the relationship I have with my mom, she's everything. She is my idol. She is everything to me. So watching my mom cry at the age of 10, broke my heart. And when I try to understand why she was crying, she just gave me a little hint around why she was crying. And I felt so bad. Then I made a decision at 10 that I'll do everything within my power to build a life and position myself in a way that I would be there, able to support my family at any point where they need help. That decision at 10 is what has propelled me to this day. It's unfortunate my mom passed away, but frankly, I truly wish she was here today to sort of experience some of the things that I'm talking about now. You know, at 10, she was, it broke my heart watching her cry. And when I made that decision, so there's a part of it that's my, parents trying to get me to do well in school, but then there's a lot more about it, which was personal. It was just internal. It was internal fire within me from seeing the person I love and I care about crying, and I couldn't offer any help at that time. And I was only 10. And I said to myself, this will never happen again. It would never happen that my mom would cry this way and I'm not able to provide any sort of help or support to my loved one. It's that experience that changed everything for me. And since then,
you wrote something online, bro. I think last week on LinkedIn I saw that, and you said, you had a life-changing incident when your mom passed away. You had a career-defining presentation that same moment. Yes. And I felt that shit so much because I actually just had a passing, and then we had to go to Cannes.
I'm so sorry.
Appreciate you, brother, and likewise, man. So I would love to know how you got through that. What was that moment like, and what advice would you give to anybody else who, just goes through a loss like that but still has to perform?
Oh, very difficult. I mean, I cannot express how difficult it was. I was literally 5 minutes away from making a career-defining presentation. Deck in, I'm mic'd up and ready to go, and my phone rings. So I have this very subtle, principle with my family. Do not call me on weekdays except it's an emergency. That's my rule. Don't call me on weekdays except it's an emergency. If you need to get something, just send a text or something. So the call came in from my brother, and I just knew I had to take it because they know this rule, and they don't break the rule. They know that you can't just call me in the middle of a work day. So I excused myself from the presentation, went outside, took the call, and realized that my mom had just passed away. Imagine. This is the most important human in my life, the most powerful, the most influential force in my life. I had just been told she just passed away suddenly, unexpectedly. And I had to go back in there and deliver that presentation. In that moment, I had just about 19 seconds to gather myself, collect my thought, and go back in there and deliver that presentation like nothing happened. In that presentation, I had to smile. In that presentation, I had to be animated the way I typically, I talk with my hands. So I had to be animated because the power of communication, in order to communicate and be impactful, there's certain things you would follow, principles you follow. I still had to do all of that to show up in the best way possible, only to go back home and wet my pillows in tears. So it reminded me of my mom's, one of the lessons I learned from my mom, where she said, you never truly know what people are dealing with. So someone sits in that presentation and maybe tries to critique the very little mistake I may have made, not realizing that I was standing there just 5 minutes prior. I had just been told the person I loved the most in my life at the time had just passed away. So very often my mom would say, be kind with your words, because you just never know what others may be going through. In that moment, I experienced exactly what my mom talks about when she says, be kind with your words, because you never know. So that was a very difficult time for me. But you know what? In that same time, I was flying around, work, and I didn't let the grief settle in. I didn't take the time to really grieve. So I was in denial, right? I was in denial for a while. I was still very busy working, public speaking engagement here and there, work and all that. But then one time, I believe I was in Mexico, and I was laying on the beach, and it hit me really hard when it was quiet. And I sat on that beach. I remember, I think it was 2 p.m. when I went from my room to the beach, and I was on that beach probably until sometime around 8 p.m. I could not get myself to get off the beach. That was when it truly hit me that mom had gone. And so I had to take time through therapy, grief counseling to walk through. And guess what? It's only been 3 years. 3 years feels like 3 seconds. Because thinking about it right now, it hurts my soul. It hurts my soul that mom's not here to see the man that I've become. It hurts my soul that mom's not here to see. The interesting thing is I called her up and I said, Mom, I'm gonna write about you. And you know, it's not something that's completely, beautiful. I want to write about you. I just want to talk about how you worked so hard and you didn't pay attention to your health. And she was like, don't put my story out there. And I was like, Mom, someone's going to pick up this book someday and they are going to feel inspired from it. So mom said to me, well, okay, I can't say no to you. Go ahead and write your book, but on the condition that I'll be the first person to get a copy when it's out. It's like, Mom, that's not a problem. You'll be the first to get the 10 copies, the first 10 copies. If you want 100 copies, you'll be the first to get 100 copies. I'll go ahead and write it and you'll be the first. And guess what? By the time I was launching my book, Mom had passed. So she was not here to witness that moment. And so it breaks my heart. I think it's really just acknowledging the loss, letting the different stages of grief really just naturally work its way, and understanding that this is their desire for us, is that we continue the legacy. Their desire for us is that we continue to prosper and we continue to shine, we continue to show up using everything they have prepared us with. And so that's my confidence. My confidence is that Mom's looking from above and going, that's my son. That's really, because I lived all this time hoping that I truly made Mom proud. Because from ages maybe 5 through maybe until I got a little old and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. But from like 5, Mom would hold my hand every morning and say, what's the promise to me? And I would respond, I would always make you proud. Every day, she goes, she hold my hand. What's the promise to me? And I'll say, I'll always make you proud. And that's why to this day, anything I do that seems like an accomplishment, I'll just dedicate it to Mom.
That's love, man. That's one of the realest stories I felt. Yo, man, she's definitely proud, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Be proud. You're incredible, brother. Straight up.
Thank you.
I mean, it's something that, again, because Cuzzo brought it up, when his aunt passed, unfortunately, we weren't there, but she passed in the house the day we were flying out to France. That day, that morning. So our flight was just say like at 7. The whole entire family went to the house. They had to kick us out. Like, you guys, his mother and his father was like, you guys got to go because you guys have to go to France and make Aunt Lolo. Her name was, we call her Aunt Lolo. You got to make Aunt Lolo proud. Like, she's looking over you guys. Like, you can't stay anymore. You're going to miss your flight. And for anybody outside the team here, nobody knew. So everything we did in Cannes, we did exactly what you said. We had to go on the big stage. We had to laugh. We had to joke. We had to do interviews. We had to give this energy as if nothing was wrong when actually we experienced a passing on the way out there. So not the same between a mother and an aunt, but we can definitely understand when you have a connection with a person in general, right? Because Lola was a special person. we understand that type of pain and what type of courage it takes to kind of like put that behind you and still try to perform at the highest level. I like to think that because I'm a spiritual person, I like to think that like that spirit is with you, right? And it kind of helps you in the moment, right? Not to overload in the moment and not to grieve in the moment, but enough to get you through what you need to get through. And then, like you said, when you have that quiet time and that peace, then you can go through your process. I appreciate you sharing that story, Dr. Babs, because
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, a lot of people lose loved ones. Unfortunately, this is the circle of life every single day. A lot of, like I just said, GNT, I started off the show saying that. Like, I know a couple people, like 4 or 5 people that just passed back to back to back. Not even some old, not in their elderly, their elder years. I just lost an uncle, 3 days ago, Mass? 4 days ago? I just got the call.
This week.
I just got the call. Just this week. Just got the call this week, right? And again, like same thing, right? And it's like you wear all of this. You wear all of this. But it was very important that you also said you seek help.
Yeah.
That's another topic amongst especially black men, black and brown men, that we neglect to speak about. For whatever reason, it's not helping our culture, it's actually hurting our culture, because it makes it seem as if you seek out help, you are weak mentally, or you are weak emotionally, or you are somehow less of a man because you're asking somebody else to help you process what you're going through. But I think that we need to seek out help because we all have trauma.
That's a fact.
Everybody has trauma, childhood trauma, teenage trauma, etc. And unless we understand how to constructively deal with that trauma, then oftentimes it'll overload us and we'll end up, lashing out or making a lot of mistakes. And it might, end up taking your life in a direction that you don't want it to go because you just don't know how to deal with the emotions that are overloading you in the moment.
Totally. In my book, seeking help is actually a positive. I don't ever want to take advice from someone who doesn't need help. I don't think someone who wants to do it all can offer any value to me. I think it takes humility. I think it takes understanding. I think it takes self-awareness to say, hey, I truly need help. Because we can't do it all. If we could, then we would be an entire nation of one. It would be just one person, in an entire nation, an island. So I believe very strongly in seeking help where we are weak. Oftentimes, for instance, I'm never going to try to play basketball with any one of you. I'm using an analogy for something very serious, I know, but there are certain things that I would never attempt to compete within because it's just not my strength. It's not my strength.
I thought it was because you knew I was nice, Doc. Fucking in here with. I thought you were like, nice. You look like you ball, Jarrett.
If you want to play soccer, soccer.
Let's do a 1v1.
I'll do it though. For content, let's do it, Doc. He'll do the push-ups. I'll do the soccer. I'm with it.
If you want to play soccer, totally, I would be totally fine with soccer.
Okay. I played, so we can do a 1v1.
Oh, totally. Absolutely.
Listen, my dad still has the set up in the backyard from when we used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Let's do it.
That's awesome. You got the feet.
That's awesome.
My dad would tell us every morning, you want to be great? 10,000 hours, 5 a.m., knocking on our door, check the weather. It's above 32 degrees. We have to go outside. Because below 32 degrees was child endangerment. Let me tell you, I prayed for the winter days.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Dad, sorry, it's 31 degrees. I got to go back to sleep. You can't put us outside. It's child endangerment.
That's right. This is true.
But I get it. You gotta.
Yeah.
I very much have those parents. My dad was the same way with my bio test. I come home with a 98. What happened to that 2%? That's the part that you were supposed to know the most. If you didn't know it for the test, you need to go back. That's the part you need to study first.
Yep, we keep going. I mean, frankly, again, just to balance that thought out for people who might have the opposite perspective. I don't. It's not about not appreciating the 98%. I do know that in their hearts they're grateful for that 98%, but I think what they're trying to achieve is just push you a little further, And some kids you can push them a little further. But other kids, maybe you cannot. Maybe that's their best. So if you're able to get them to their best, I think that's fine. But we just need to ensure that we encourage our young ones to do better, to show up stronger, to be tougher, and not just fall back to what's convenient and what's easy. So that's what I think. Yes, they encourage us to do better, to get more, to just so we can strengthen that muscle of courage, of perseverance, of resilience. And at the end of the day, when we become adults, or when they become adults, I wish I was a kid. when they become adults, they would need all of those to navigate this very difficult life. Life's hard. Being an adult is difficult. You have questions every day. I'm faced with different challenges, whether it's at work or it's in my other gigs and stuff that I have to show up and answer. Sometimes, when I was younger, I just passed the ball up to my leader. But at this point, the ball stops here. I have to make the decision. So everything that I have experienced and I've been taught all this time then becomes very helpful in determining what decisions I make. And very often when I see the way people make decisions, I can tell what they're made of just by the decisions they make. That's it. You want to know what a person is made of? Just look at the decisions they're making today.
Man, are you out of your fucking mind?
That's what I'll be asking people sometimes, Doc. I'll be like, are you out of your fuck? Like, what made you even think that why do you even think that way? Like, but hold on, I want to lighten it up a little bit, Doc, because you really, the mom story was super heavy. I want to lighten it up just a little bit real quick. We like to play a game on the show sometimes, right? So you said something. You said, okay, 8-year plan, 8 things on the checklist, 1 per year, and you're missing 1. So we're gonna try to guess. We're gonna try to guess what that one thing is that you didn't check off on your list because you said it's only 1. Nadege, right here in the.
I gotta go first. Age before beauty. Age before beauty. There you go.
It's your idea.
It's your idea. Listen, I see a couple more salts in that pepper.
It's a little more salt.
Doc, you see the disrespect I gotta go through in this show, Doc. This is crazy right now.
Okay, all love, buddy.
So I'm gonna jump out the window with it. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that you like to have fun, even though you're an academic and stuff like that. And saying you were coming from the northern part of Nigeria, I think the only thing you didn't check off is you came to America and you wanted to be the first Nigerian North Nigerian GQ model. I think that you wanted to be up in GQ because you go to the gym all the time. I think you wanted to have a spread in GQ with the crown and a lion on the side. You wanted to be the real life coming to America. Eddie he wanted to have the GQ spread. Yeah, and you're just waiting because you're in the gym at 5 a.m. So you be seeing all these guys on Instagram flex. Like, I can do that. I can do. Am I right? Am I wrong? I don't know.
Good try. Good job.
That's a good one.
It's a good try.
What you got, Cuzzo?
I don't know. You gotta give us some hints of what it was so I can see.
Yeah, I didn't know what was on the list, so I can feel like what's missing.
I didn't go by what was on the list.
I'm thinking because that's the best one. I'm thinking about wrestling. I'm like, you want to be a wrestler? You want to be? You trying to be a rapper? You like?
I'm sitting here thinking, maybe he came to New York and he's talking about he was on grind mode. So I feel like you never really got to just be a tourist. Like, did you go see the sights? Did you go dilly-dally through the New York streets?
That's a good one. That's another good one. Really good one. Yeah. Really good. I feel
like he just went straight to the top floor of the office.
Really good one. That's another good one.
For a dirty water hot dog.
Yep.
With some
okay.
Good one.
What you got, Cuzzo?
That was a good new one. Shit, I don't know. He wanted to be Damson Idris. He wanted to be the African Idris.
The real snowfall. Come to Nigeria. We show you real snowfall.
You know what I'm saying? He auditioned for The Wire. He said, and he said, you know, I'm too smart for this shit.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Anyways, well, y'all tried. That's all good, good attempt. But how about we do this? How about I hold off on the one thing?
Okay.
Neither one of you got it right. None of you got it right.
Okay.
We're not doing that. But I'll hold off on that one thing.
Okay.
And then when I see you again, hopefully on this same show,
okay,
I would have achieved that one thing. How about that?
Okay, and then we could talk about you achieving it on the show. I like it.
I
like it a lot.
Good. All right, let's do that.
We ain't talk about your work either. I'm just curious. Like, we don't have to go into too many of the campaigns and things you did, but if you had to hang your hat on one thing, or one piece of creative work, one strategy, one thing that you did for a brand, what would that be?
Well, I don't talk a lot about my career that much, just because it's a lot of
there's a lot of red tape sometimes. But if you can talk about one, what's one that's exciting for you that's like public?
There was the work we did on Guinness.
Okay.
It's
with beer and the record book.
Wait, stout, right? Stout or right? Stout.
Beer and the record book. They're both the
There's a big difference. Is it the stout or is the record book? There's a big difference there.
It's the stout, the brand.
Okay, it's the stout. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. It was the campaign is called Made of Black.
Okay.
And that was a very personal work for me because we leaned into a truth about the brand. So the brand itself, from a color point of view, is black, right? But beyond the color of the brand itself, we were speaking to the aspiration, the focus or inspiration, if you will, of a group of people who we were looking to inspire, to and be inspired by at the time. And so we created this whole Made of Black, and then we extended that campaign into Black is great, Black is professional, Black is excellent, Black is, and we went into all of those angles and layers, just trying to portray what Black truly means. And frankly, when you just keep all biases apart, aside, just from a simple creative point of view, you take the color black. It's freaking awesome. It's just amazing. And so when you could play with that to any extent possible. And so it was more so around, this was way before the climate that we're in today. As I'm talking
the American Eagle age that we're in.
I'm talking way back, almost 15 years now, if possible, maybe 12, 13 years, And that campaign to this day still resonates with me. The fact that it lifted up, a group of people. It acknowledged the quality, it acknowledged the texture, it acknowledged of the product, but then more importantly, it inspired the community that consumed it around the different regions. I don't see a lot of consumption of Guinness in the US in general, but if you step outside of the US and you looked at consumption of Guinness across different other regions, it was just the best opportunity to inspire those people and be inspired by them. So there was a lot of, the iconography just demonstrated the beauty of the culture of Black and all of it. I cannot get over that Made of Black campaign.
I don't know anybody who drink Guinness besides my Jamaican brothers. My brother.
Nah. I told you what do you call them? The Guyanese people. Guyanese people. That's their drink, bro. That Guinness. I don't know a Guyanese motherfucker that don't drink Guinness. Like, that's all they. Every time we go to drink, let's get some stout. I'm not drinking that, bro. Like, I'm not drinking that shit, bro. Shout out to my barber Lee. If you see this, Lee is a shout out. One of the best barbers in New York. Period, man. Lee is nice, and Jesus Christ, Lee, you got to get a new fucking alcoholic beverage or whatever you want to call it. You gotta get a new beverage of choice.
As long bro's on the campaign, you buy the beer.
That's crazy.
You dropped hella gems. You dropped hella gems. But this is my little segment of the show called From the Saucer.
No, we ain't gonna say that. No little segment. This is the segment.
This is the segment.
Stop playing.
This is my time to shine. So we're going. But I always like to say, when you are, living life, you should never pour from your cup. You should fill your own cup up first, then let it runneth over. The excess that runs over into your saucer is what you are to pour into others. So if you could just take this opportunity to talk to the young people, talk to the aspiring people, the next generation coming up, what is something you would pour into them?
Not Guinness.
Definitely not Guinness.
Not Guinness. They don't need that.
But hold on, Guinness. If you want to cut that check, then we can change our minds real quick.
It'll be the best refreshing beer ever.
It might be in this red cup. I might replace this cup with a Guinness. Holla at us.
Oh man. Well, the next generation. Honestly, I can't think of a better gift for the next generation than cracking the life code. Frankly, I can't think of a better gift for the next generation. In this book, I shared pretty much everything I knew with regards to what would be a typical manual, if you will, for navigating the murky waters of life. And if someone, for instance, I took 6 dimensions of my life and I explored how we could grow across those 6 dimensions of life, which included spirituality, health and wellness, family, finance, career. So I touched on all of these areas. So for the next generation, frankly, this would be my primary gift to them. But if we're asking what advice do I have for next generation, honestly, I think my biggest advice would probably be my mom's advice also. She really just said, feel until you can feel no more. That's really what she would say to me. Feel, keep feeling, keep on feeling until you can feel no more. When you can't feel anymore, you will absolutely succeed. And so this is my recommendation or my advice to the next generation. The truth is, one of the reasons we often don't live to our best potential is because we are afraid of failing. And so once we embrace failure as a friend and not an enemy, we would understand that it's actually an ingredient on the road to success. You can't be successful again, I say that very carefully. Some people handed success, from generation to generation. But if you don't have that kind of background and opportunity, you can't be successful without failures. As a matter of fact, failures help you master success. So rather than being afraid of failing, please fail. Can you please fail and fail even more? I make a lot of money today speaking at conferences and places, and the most things I talk about are my failures. In fact, sometimes I ask myself, why don't I have a lot more failures to talk about? Because I'm sharing lessons from my failures and I'm making money from that. So can you imagine how much, if you were told that you can make more money from the number of mistakes you make, would you then fail? Please go ahead and fail. Fail? Message! Never stop failing.
Yeah.
That was crazy. I love this episode, but you touched on one thing, and I want you to expound on this one time for me too, also, because we've had this debate a lot on the show. We didn't ask if you have children, but Cuzzo has 2 sons. I have 2 sons. in the newer generations that are coming up, they are finding success in non-traditional ways now, right? There are a lot of new millionaires and very successful young people that are not doctors and lawyers, and they don't have city jobs or federal jobs, as is the norm, the safe way to go, right? Traditional education, etc. But with that being said, a lot of these children exhibit these attributes very, very young now. So here's the debate, right? We understand the safeguard of parents that just want you to kind of get a formal education and follow a certain path. But I feel like it's way more important to see if your child is talented in a certain area and just let them develop that. Because what I feel like life has shown me is the people that have dedicated their life to something the earliest with no plan B, from like 5, 6, 7 years old all the way up, they become super, like, you got this success, and then they're like way up here in their success level because that's all they did. And Nadege says the 10,000 hours, they might have a million hours at that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, because this is all they've done for 20, 30 years, 40 years of their life. They are masters at it. So I just would like to get your take on that. Like, as an adult now, what do you feel like is more important, the traditional route, or if you see a child like yourself that say, well, I don't want to do that, this is my passion, actually pouring into them and supporting that passion and just allowing them to follow that?
Great question. Absolutely. I don't have kids. I do have 2 nephews. And they are my world right now. They can get anything, get away with murder. Yeah, but I often feel like parents should not play God in the lives of their children. Oftentimes, when we make decisions out of our own bias and our own fear for the future, we're playing God in the child's life. So we certainly need to understand that the world that raised us is very different from the world that we live in today. And so we need to, again, just remember to give them the fundamentals, to give them the foundation. That's what's important. Just make sure that they have the foundation. And then if they have identified, especially because, I mean, as a matter of fact, you have kids going to college this week or next week who are going to go study a 4-year course that's very expensive, that over the next 4 or 5 years, I don't know if these courses will be relevant because of AI. So there is that to keep in mind. So if there are kids who have the talent to do something exceptional, I think identifying those talents and nourishing those talents very early is probably a better approach than trying to put them in a box. There are kids that would never fit a box. They just will, they need wings to fly. And so we need to give them wings to fly. I often say that fathers give you wings to fly. So if you're a father and you have kids, your primary goal should be to give your kids the wings to fly. And so if they want to fly into a non-traditional industry, let them fly. If they want to fly into a very formal industry, let them fly. Your job is to give them wings. It's not to determine where they go. Just give them the wings and let them fly away.
I love it.
So sometimes you give them wings in a runway.
No, you got to stop, because this is why they think this shit is scripted, because we be on the same wavelength. Like, I was about to say, give them wings and a kick in the ass for a push. Like, oh, you need help to get lift off?
Go there.
Throw your ass. The runway and the kick in the ass. Now get your ass on.
Fly.
Yeah.
You need an alley-oop, motherfucker. Again, I want to apologize to you, Dr. Babs, because we were so excited about bringing you on the show. Normally, we start the show off and say the word phenomenal. We say the word phenomenal. So I apologize to you, Dr. Babs. Normally, I introduce our guests and I say, we got another phenomenal guest. So I didn't say it this time. But ladies and gentlemen, you see what it is. You see what it is. So, you know, we were honored to have you on this show again. Like, this was nothing short of just a phenomenal episode, a continuation to what we already did on the panel. Again, please let the people know, one, where to find you, where to follow you, where to get your book, how to support you. Please, because I guarantee you people are going to see this interview and get inspired. And, they might want to reach out to you. So can you let the people know where to find you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been an honor just laughing after a very long, hard day. Thank you for the laughs. I really appreciate it. Always fun having time, spending time with you. I'm usually very active on social media. We have our Cracking the Life Code website, which is crackingthelifecode.com. Usually on that website, we're very swift to responding to comments. Cracking the Life Code is available everywhere books are sold, Amazon and any of the bookstores. I'm usually active on Instagram, LinkedIn, and not so much these days on some of the other networks, but it's Babs Faseesin, and I would be very happy to take inquiries and have a chat wherever, whenever. Thanks.
I love it, man. Cuzzo, you on mute?
I'll say the same thing. I said I love it, and you know what the time it is now. Welcome to the family, my brother. Welcome to the family. You're officially part of what that entails, Dr. Babs, is so. First of all, y'all, brother, we want to say we're incredibly proud of all the work you've done, what you've endured to get to where you are, brother. It's inspiring. And anybody we've spoken to on this show prior and the 300, 400, 500 episodes we're going to have after this, you have direct access to. So please, brother, if you see anybody, don't care who it is, just say, hey, I want to make this happen, or would love to meet the so-and-so. What we do is we get you guys on a phone call, we leave the phone call, and we let you conduct business and build a relationship and do that. And that's our way of giving back for you giving us time and you believing in us with your story and trusting us with your story. So please take us up on that. And you might get a text message one day to be like, yo, we're going to make some plays for you anyway, because that's what we do. So awesome. you just know we're already thinking about connecting some dots, introducing you to some people. Anyway, we can see you continue to grow and soar, man. And we here, man. We just want to say much love, man. And this was a classic.
And we're just gonna add on to that. We don't believe in gatekeeping, so that's what that's part of the not gatekeeping. But also, it takes a village to raise you, and it takes a village to also help you continue to succeed and give back to the villages that are coming behind you. So we are a part of that village now. If you're in New York and you have an event and you want us to show up, even if we're not covering the event, even if you just say, hey, just come, show, we would love to show up and show support to you. If you just want to get a Guinness, maybe you like Guinness. You never know, we might get a Guinness and a steak. If you're in New York and you like, hey man, I just want to grab a bite to eat, can you guys like Nadege said, maybe you haven't had a chance to really fully be a tourist around New York, or you've heard about some good spots you want to go eat, like, oh, I heard these guys got some good food, let us know. We do that with our guests a lot. We go out and we just break bread and hang out and we just have a genuinely good time. But we want you to take us up on that offer, right? It's not just a blanket offer and we forget about it. We will be contacting you and saying, hey man, you're all right and you need anything, because again, without, if we can't help each other, then we have no business asking any person in the world for help, right? So it starts with us, right?
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So with that being said, you know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen, yet another phenomenal guest. You understand what I'm saying? And, again, our guests come on and they tell intimate stories, right? And they trust us with their stories, and they're trusting you with hearing their stories in their own voices, not clickbait, not little sound bites and stuff, but the full story. So this man came on and told you, like, listen, I didn't come from a place where we have ample opportunity, right? The place that I come from, ridicule with violence, I was a minority, religious conflict, et cetera, et cetera. So it took dedication. It took dedication and understanding what your situation was, and an understanding and a mindset of, I want to get out and this is what I want to do. He had the support of his parents to help push him through, the support of his family, but he also took the chance on himself. He told you that he left one region of Africa and flew to a completely different region, not enrolled in school, but just said, listen, man, I believe in myself. Once again, it's that belief in yourself that I could do it. Got a job, did his thing, and then did it again and said, I'm coming to America. Because if Eddie Murphy could do it, baby, you see this body, you see this thing, I can do it. And he let you know he ain't got no kids right now. So ladies, you know what I'm saying? The wild oats ain't sold yet. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be the queen with the roses and you never know. He never said his father might have his own money with the face on it. Holla at Dr. Babs, you know, you go look out here, you know, GQ, he ready. But you know, we laugh and we joke. But once again, we say all that to say that this man is dedicated. He's focused. You know, he gets his sleep. He's a spiritual guy. He's a religious guy, and he just believes in what he's doing, and he's willing to fight and work for it, which reiterates what we say to end the show every single time. The dream is free.
But the hustle is sold separately, y'all. We gonna see y'all more than the title.
You know what it is, man. Who what us?
I love it.
What up?
What you know about me? Seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me? I done it all, just one.